Fine. So in the last session, we discussed about waterfall model. Now we will be talking about like a couple of more models, and then we will discuss about the software testing life cycles, all those stuff. See, whenever, right, as we discussed, whenever if you want to develop your application, one of the SDLC model is mandatory. You can use one of the SDLC model. That can be any model, like you can use your waterfall model, you can use your agile model, any model you can use it. Till now we discussed about your waterfall model, and then I wanted to talk about like one more model called V model. See, most of the times in the organization we will use waterfall model or agile model. These are the very common models we will use in the industry. However, even V model also, we will use this V model sometimes. So what we will do is we will try to understand what is this V model, what is the importance of this E model. We will talk about that. We will talk about that, what is the importance of this V model as well. Okay, fine. So here, right, when you say that V model, name indicates it's a V. V is nothing but it's a verification and validation model. So you can say that V model is nothing but verification as well as validation. That means, right, when you are following this V model to develop your projects, so you can do your verification for your requirements, and also you can do the validation of your requirement. Here when I say that verification means here we are not doing anything here. Here we are checking the requirements based on the documentation. Based on your different documents, you are checking that whether your product is correct or not. Based on the documentation, here I am not doing any testing here. However, when you say that validation is the actual testing. You are testing your requirements, and you are checking that whether your requirements are properly implemented or not in your validation phase. That's why like when you are using your V model means both you can use your verification as well as your validation. So when you are using this kind of V model, like you will be getting more quality products. However, right, as I said, like and due to some other reasons like budget or timelines, most of the times people will go with agile. Here, even with what V model also, here also you have like a lot of phases, and each and every phase is having specific deliverables, and also it will take a lot of time to complete your project. That's the reason we will go with the agile. I will talk about that agile in few minutes. First, let me complete this V model. V model is nothing but it's verification and validation process. That means both your verification as well as validation. So here, whenever, right, if I say that verification, here we are not testing anything, we are not validating, just we are checking that the documentation. That means, right, what I mean is here, say for example, right, if I'm having some documents like design documents, if my design documents are proper, then I will assume that my application may have good quality. So here I am not checking anything, just you are checking based on your documentation. That is called your verification. Whereas validation means, now what I will do is I will go to the application and then I will check each and every requirement based on the design. That means you are checking each and everything, and then if everything is working fine, then only we will say that yes, I am good. That means my product is having the good quality. So here if you see that this is your verification and this is your validation. That means, so like we know that like SDLC will have different phases like your requirement analysis and design, coding, and if you see here, yeah, what do you mean by examples here, Anu?
In office, in the company, in what time or what, something like in company, in which position we will use this one, like that you can give some examples.
So here, right, see, there is there is no particular reason actually, right? It's based on your client requirements, and then based on your budget and based on your timelines, we will choose this model. So there is no specific reason when exactly you will go to your models and all. It's totally depends on your client. Say for example, as a client, you come to me, and these models will be decided by your top management. So now right there, as a client, you will come to me and then you said that you want to develop your project within a month. This is your requirement. Now, as a team, what we will do is we will go with the agile model, because within a month, I cannot develop my application when I go with my waterfall or V model. Because what will happen, waterfall means you have like a specific phases are there, and then you have to complete each and every phase to move to the next phase. So if you are doing like this, 1 month is not a sufficient time. So what we will do is, this kind of situation, better to go with your what do you call that, agile model. Okay, clear? Fine. So yeah, fine, no problem. So here, now if you see here, right, here also like story will be same, like right here also you will be having like different phases. Now here I'm having my requirement analysis phase, and the requirement analysis phase, what we will do is, like verification means what we will is, we will be preparing that acceptance criteria. When you will say that all the requirements are properly implemented in your application, for that what we will do is, we will prepare a test plan, and then based on this plan only we will do the actual testing. And when you say that once you are done with the requirement analysis, obviously it will come to your design, right? It will come to your design. Design is nothing but, as I said, this design part is applicable to your developers. What they will do is, they will be having these designs for the particular application, whichever the application we are going to develop, they will be having their designs. When you say that high level design, what I said, it's a high level design like architecture diagrams, flow diagrams, and your database designs, like this. It's a high level design. Whereas when it comes to that detailed design, which is nothing but the actual development, what they will do is, they will do the actual development and they will give the application to the testing. Now here is the actual testing. Now it will go to the testing. Now I told you unit testing will be done by the development team. Don't forget it. Unit testing always done by the developer only. Once it is done, then it will come to that integration testing. Usually integration testing will be done by the testers sometimes it will be done by the developers. It depends on the organization. Then we will do the system testing. This is the main job of tester. If I say that tester main job is system testing. As a tester, you have to perform your testing in your entire system. See, system testing is nothing but the testing the entire system as a whole. And when you say that system testing, what are all the testing types will be available, what kind of testing we will do, how to test it, everything we will discuss in detail, because these are the general concepts. Like to develop your application, what kind of models we are using. This is a general concept. But we will be talking about that system testing in detail, because this is my job. To test my application, what are all the testing types are available, how to test it, everything we will discuss in detail. Then acceptance testing. Acceptance testing is nothing but like what we will do is, based on our requirement, check that each and every requirement is acceptable or not for the client. What I will do is, we will check that each and every requirement, whether it is acceptable by the end user or not. End user in the sense client. If everything is good, yes, let's go to the production. So that's why here when you say that V model is nothing but our verification and validation. Here verification is nothing but, this is the place where we will be using our documentation, or we will be doing our coding to develop our application. Here we are not doing any actual validation here. All our actual validation will comes here. Validation is nothing but you are cross-checking. You are checking that each and every requirement is properly implemented by the team or not. Right? Here in the validation phase, most of the times tester will involve here, except your unit testing. Unit testing is not our job. Unit testing will be done by the developers. That is the job of developers actually. And see which model you want to use, like any model as a tester for me, okay. See, as a tester, if I use waterfall model, if I use V model, if I use my agile model, from the testing point of view, there is no much difference. There is absolutely no difference. What I will do is I will be getting my requirements. Let's start writing the test cases based on the requirements and then test the application. So whatever may be the model, like tester will not have much effect. However, you need to be aligned with that particular model, because if waterfall model means like we will be having each and every phase, and then each and every phase will have a specific deliverables. But if you go to other model, like same phases will be available, but there will be a different alignment. So you have to follow that process. That's it. Okay, we got a question here. Fine. So Anu, right, you are talking about that what is the difference between verification and validation, right? I will be separately explain you that verification and validation in another session. Just for the time being, just understand that we are trying to understand V model. In the V model, we are having two phases: verification and validation. Validation is the actual testing. Actual testing, that means you are checking the requirements is properly implemented or not by using your different testing activities. Whereas verification means here we are not doing any testing. Here we are checking the documentation. Here we are checking the design, and then based on this design we will make sure that our application is having the good quality. Okay.
Is
Yeah.
acceptance testing, it is same as user acceptance testing?
Yes. User acceptance testing. See, it's a naming convention, right? So I will say that acceptance testing. Some people will say that user acceptance testing. So here, user acceptance testing is nothing but like what we will do is we will see that whether the requirements are acceptable or not. That means if client is giving like 10 requirements, if all the 10 requirements are properly implemented, yes, it is acceptable. Okay. Fine. Now if you see, right, just same story, like again I repeated here, like when you say that verification process, what you will do. Validation means what you will do. See, when you say that verification, right, when you say that verification, so here you are having like different phases. Same thing here also. It's documented. That's it. Requirement phase is nothing but what we will do. We will make sure that all the requirements are gathered, and then we will make sure that all the requirements are documented in a document, like people will say that SRS, FRS, whatever. So you have to make sure that each and every requirement is documented. That is your requirement phase. See, when you see that waterfall, you will do the same responsibilities. When you see the V model, same responsibilities. Only thing is this model, right? What we will do is based on our project, based on our timelines, based on our budget, based on the client requirements, we will we will use that particular model. Nothing else. I mean, there is no specific difference actually, from especially from the testing point of view. I don't see any difference. Only thing is you have to follow the process. You have to follow the process based on your model, whichever model you are using. If you see this requirement analysis, story will be same. And then when it comes to that high level design, when you come to that when you come to this high level design, in this high level design, what we will do here, we will take all the requirements and then we will create our design diagrams, architecture diagrams, because usually this will be done by your leads, tech leads or development lead. Those people will do what they will do is, right, they will be creating the design diagrams based on your flow diagrams or database designs, architecture diagrams. They will do that. And in the low level design means this is the actual development. This is your okay. This is your actual development. This is the actual development, and here what they will do is they will do that coding. They will do the coding. They will do the coding, and what they will do is they will write all the coding, and then they will make sure that each and every requirement is coded, and then once they are done, what they will do is they will give this application to the validation. And when you say that validation, right, you have like a validation with so many testing types: unit testing, integration testing, system testing, and UAT testing. When you say that unit testing, that is not our job, right? Unit testing will be done by the developer. That is the first point. See here, testing done by the developer. So that is not our job. Integration testing means, right? Integration testing means this is sometimes done by the developers, sometimes it is done by the testers. It's based on the design of your application. Now here, right, what do you mean by integration testing? As we discussed, integration testing is nothing but make sure that the data is flowing between the modules correctly or not. That means, what do you mean by that? If you're having different modules, say for example, if you're having a module called create order, and then I'm having a module called search order. That means as a tester, you have to make sure that once you have created the order in your create order module, then if you're trying to search whatever the order you have created in your create order, it should appear in your search orders like that. And then when you say that system testing, this is the main job of the testing team. My main job is testing the system. That is your job. If you say the tester job is test the entire system. To test this entire system, you may be having like so many testing types, and we will be talking about that all the testing types. What is this regression testing? What is retesting? What is that smoke testing? You have so many testing types as part of your system testing. We will be trying to understand all the system testings going forward. Okay. Fine. Then when you say that UAT, okay, we got a query. Yeah. So Pavani, right, when you say that integration testing, right, integration testing is nothing but what we will do is in each and every application you will be having like a lot of components or a lot of modules. Right? When you have, let me take one example that's better, right? Now, see if you take any application, like right, if you take any application and all, now what we will do is, right, here integration testing means, right, while developing that application, what will happen is developer will develop the application based on the components or based on the modules. Now here, say for example, here my one module is my login. So what I will do is I will be logging into the application. Now here, right, what will happen is when you say that integration means you have to make sure that the data is flowing between the modules properly. That means, what do you mean by that? When I go to search, right, if I go to search, and here, right, what I will do is I'm going to one of the module called members, and here when I search with my username, I should get the details. I should get my user details. I should get my user details now. See, data should come properly if the data is available. If the data is available, then only it will come. Because, right, I already have an account here. So when I'm trying to search with my name, I'm getting the results. But if you don't have account, obviously, right, it will show that empty value. So what you have to do here is, Pavani, right, see here, you have to make sure that the data is flowing between the modules correctly or not. That means I have an account called Prasad, and then like when you're working with any other module, but this is a user information. It is a user information. Now what I'm doing is I'm going to another module, and in another module I'm trying to search with Prasad. Still, you should get your information because the data should flow between the modules successfully. In your entire application, data should be available. Okay, fine. So like that. Fine. So here, right, whatever you are talking, like, right, this validation and all, when it comes to that actual application, then what we will do is we will clearly understanding like how to write the test cases, how to test your application. During that time, you will be even clear, right? Right now just we are trying to understand this process, but going forward I will give an application. So while working with that application, you really right, feeling good. And UAT, this UAT is nothing but like user acceptance testing. And here what we will do is, so we will make sure that application is properly implemented with all the requirements, and all the requirements are acceptable. And if everything is good, then we will give the sign off for this particular UAT, user acceptance testing. Now, whereas, right, when you say that right, agile, right, nowadays everyone is talking about agile. If you see in the industry, almost everyone is talking about that agile. So let's develop this application with agile. If you see, right, most of the organizations, they will say that we are developing that application in the agile. What do you mean by agile here? Right, here agile is nothing but it's a iterative development. Agile is nothing but it is a iterative development. So when you say that agile model is nothing but here we are developing the application based on the iterations. Like iterations is nothing but like what I will do is here developing the complete application, it may take a lot of time. Let's split the application into iterations. First iteration, let's focus on login. Once we are done with the login, let's focus on the search. Once we are done with the search, let's focus on the other module. So that what will happen is, if you are working with this kind of incremental or iterative model, then you can develop your application within very less time. Because in the waterfall model, what you used to do, right? First you will complete all the requirements, you will complete all the development for your application, then only you will go to the testing. But in the agile, not like that. In agile, what we will do, first we will take one piece. That means we will take one module, we will complete the module, and we will give that application, we will give that module to the testing. While doing your testing, parallelly I will develop another module. By completing of your first module, I will give another module, so that both your testers and developers works parallelly, so that you can deliver that product very quickly. That is the reason everyone is going with this agile. Okay, see, please try to understand this agile concept, because agile concept is mandatory and it is common for any organization. If you're not understanding V model, that is absolutely fine, because V model, right, we will use very rarely. But yes, agile is very important for me. Right now everyone is talking about agile, right? Everyone is using agile to develop their applications. Now if you see right here, right, I said that it's a iterative development agile model. Here what we will do is, here we will be having collaboration between different teams. That means we should have a good communication between the teams, like developers, testers, business teams. So everyone should have a regular interactions. You should have a regular interactions between the teams. Then only you can quickly develop that application, quickly test that application, and then push it to the live. So here everything what will happen is based on your communication only. You will say that yes, I'm developing my login page. So how you want the login page? You can give your inputs. They will develop the application. Once they are done with the login page, they will give it to the testers, and testers start testing the application. By the time, developers will develop one more module like search functionality, and then they will give to the testers. By the time you have completed your login, and then you will give the login feedback to the developer. They will start working on the login feedback. By the time you will complete your search. So that what will happen is, end of the day, you can complete your project very quickly, and also you can deliver your projects very quickly. And you can say that, you can talk about that what is agile process, what exactly is agile process. When you say that agile process, here what we will do is, in this agile process, individual and interactions are important over your processes and tools. That means in agile process we will not worry about the process. Like process means first test cases needs to be created, it needs to be executed, it needs to be reviewed, and then once it is reviewed, then only start execution. So there should not be any process in your Agile. In Agile, we will not worry about the process. Here, we will worry about your application, whether the application is working or not. I don't mind what is the process you guys are using, but end of the day, you have to make sure that your application is working or not. That is the point. So here most of the times Agile means I will worry about the team, like individuals and interactions, how the interactions is happening between the team. That is important for me. Process and tools, it's a secondary. I don't care about that process and tools. And also here when you say that Agile process, here for me in this Agile process, documentation is the least priority. Documentation I will never bother. What is the documentation you are doing? I will never bother. Documentation is the least priority. Here the priority is working software. So I have to make sure that my application is working. I have to make sure that my software is working. That's the only job for me. If my software is working, I'm good. So even though it is not having any documentation, I'm absolutely fine. I need the software which is working fine. That is the story of your Agile. And one more point here is, right, you will be having the continuous interactions with your client. Every time what will happen is in your Agile process, your client also involved with you guys. That means in your Agile, if you guys are using Agile model to develop your application, so your client also involved with you and he will be providing the constant feedback. He will provide, okay, in this particular login, I don't want this checkbox, remove it. So he will be providing that feedback constantly with the team. Here communication with the client also is very frequent. You can say that on a daily basis. And also here the advantage of your Agile is like you can change your requirements at any point of time. That means like if you have any dynamic requirements is nothing but my requirements are keep on changing. When you are getting your requirements keep on changing, the best model is Agile model, because in Agile model it is easy to adapt new requirements into the application. So say for example we are developing one application and then in between like client think that okay, let's have some requirements for my mobile devices. When you want to include that requirements into that existing system, and if you have your Agile, it is easy for you like to include any new requirements. But if it is a waterfall, you have to follow the entire process again and again. So it will take a lot of efforts. But Agile, you can include your requirements at any point of time. That's the advantage. Fine. Now what is your approach, right? When you say that Agile approach, in this Agile, there is no predefined requirements. That means, right, when you're talking about your Agile waterfall, in waterfall, you should have a constant requirements. That means fixed requirements. Whenever the requirements are fixed, then only I can go with my waterfall. If the requirements are not fixed and my requirements are dynamically changed, the best model is go with your Agile. So whenever your requirements are dynamically changing, if your requirements are dynamically changing, then my best model is go with your Agile. Okay. And here in this Agile, one more advantage is here you will be having very small teams like 2 developers, 1 tester and 1 BA, 1 business analyst. So you will be having very small teams, but you will be having that close communication. That means you will be having your regular interactions. Usually what will happen is you guys will have a like regular interactions between the team. In fact, right, you will be having like daily meetings. What will happen is start of the day there will be a meeting, and in that meeting what we will do is we will discuss what is the work you have done yesterday, what is the work you are planning for today, and what is the challenges you faced yesterday, and how to overcome that issues. So this is what you will discuss in your meeting. Every day you will be having these meetings. Every day you will be having these meetings. Okay, that's why I said that it's a close communication. That means you will be having regular interactions between the team. And then here, like if you see here, right, in the agile approach, what will happen is your client and developers in the sense, not only developers and testers, client and your development team working together on small iterations. That means what we will is we will regularly, right, regularly get the updates from your client, and then we will develop the application based on the small iterations. So Anu, it can be anything, not only Scrum. So Anu is asking, so is it Scrum, right? See, you can call it a Scrum. You can call it a Scrum, or some people they will say that it's an incremental model. So it's a name is like different names like Scrum as Agile Scrum model, Agile iteration model. So if you use any model, end of the main model name is Agile model. Inside the Agile, again you are having like so many sub models, like your Scrum model, like your iterative model, like your incremental model, like this. So it's a kind of Scrum only. Okay. So here what will happen is, here your clients and your development team working together on small iterations. What we will do is we will work with the clients, and then we will get the regular updates from them, and then we will try to implement our application. But here we will be implementing our application small iterations. Usually in the Agile model, what will happen is we will call that iterations is like sprints. We will say that sprints. That means sprints is nothing but like one release. So what we will do is in the sprints, each sprint what we will do, like almost it will be like 3 to 4 weeks. Each sprint will take like 3 to 4 weeks. It is a very small iterations, and 3 to 4 weeks means what we will do is we will develop 1 to 2 requirements. We will focus with 1 to 2 requirements. We will develop this 1 to 2 requirements. Once we are done with these requirements, we will share with the client, and then client can provide that feedback. Based on that, we can modify that application, or we can do some addition, whatever we can do that. So this is called our sprints. Sprints is nothing but like, right, it's a small iterations, and what we will do is we will be developing our applications based on the sprints, and sprints are nothing but your small iterations. Here we will develop 1 or 2 requirements for each and every sprint. As I said, sprint is nothing but it's 2 to 4 weeks. Like it's a very small iterations. And here when you say that Agile, right, here most of the times I will focus on the functionality. I will be giving like less importance to my UI. I will give like less importance to UI, but I will give more importance to my functionality. I will give more importance to my functionality, because UI is a secondary for my Agile environment. Because if my software is working, yes, I'm good. So UI is the secondary part, actually, secondary priority. GUI is nothing but graphical user interface, Satish, right? Here GUI is nothing but UI, right? Graphical user interface. That means look and feel. That means here, right, what I will do is in this, let me tell you what do you mean by that sentence. I will tell you that. So when you are working with your applications, right, what I will do is in these applications, I will be focusing on the functionality. That means here, right, I will not give like that importance, like how this login page is displaying, what is this alignment. I will not give that importance. However, I will give my importance is whether my login is working or not. I will give more importance to my functionality. I will check whether my login is working with the valid user or not. Yes, it is working. So I'm good. So what we will do here is, here we will be giving like more importance to the functionality than your UI. We will give more importance to your functionality than your UI. GUI is nothing but look and feel, graphical user interface. That means how the application looks to the end user. Okay, and so here, right, Anu, right, you are talking about this, right, Scrum and all. So morning meetings for your 2 days activities. Just now I said like every day you guys you guys are having some meetings every day, and in that meeting you will be talking about that what you have done yesterday, what is the plan for today, what challenges you faced, right? What is the what can be the solution for each and every challenge. Those things will be discussed in everyday meeting. And as you said, Anu, like it can be your scrum meeting or it can be daily stand-up meeting. So it can call as anything. Scrum meeting you can say that, or you can say that daily stand-up meeting. Both are same. Okay. And if you see here, right now, if you observe here, so in the Scrum world, in your Agile world, right, in the Agile world, we will call these terminologies, but when you go to your waterfall, you will call these terminologies. That means, right, if you say that waterfall model, if you are using your waterfall model, then we will call it as project manager. Project manager is responsible to drive all the project activities in your waterfall. When it comes to that your Agile model, we will call it as Scrum Master, right? We will call it as Scrum Master. Scrum Master is responsible to drive all your project activities. But end of the day, right? Just a just a name difference. Project Manager and Scrum Master both are same. Only thing is, based on your model, we will call that particular person as Scrum Master or your Project Manager. Okay, the responsibilities will be same. There is no difference in the responsibilities. In your waterfall model, you will make sure that all your project activities are going correctly or not, and you will coordinate all the team members, and you will make sure that the project is on track. In Scrum, in your Agile model also, Scrum Master will do the same. He will make sure that all the project activities are working fine, and he will make sure that each and every team member is working correctly, and he will coordinate all the team members. The roles and responsibilities will be same. The only thing is the name. Like in the waterfall model, we will call it as project manager, but in the Agile world, we will call it as Scrum Master. Okay. And similarly, right, in your waterfall model, right, whoever gathering the requirements from the client, he will call it as business analyst. But when it comes to that Agile model, we will call it as product owner. Product owner is the responsible person to gather the requirement in your Agile model. Okay. See, let me know if you have any doubts in this Agile model, please. Any doubts in the Agile model, please let me know. Okay. Fine. See, when you say that Agile, right, this is how exactly your Agile will work. If you understand this slide, that means you are good with your Agile. If you understand this slide, you are good with your slide, without any doubt. So here, right, when you say that Agile model, right, in your Agile model, what will happen is, now, say for example, I wanted to develop this particular software. I wanted to develop my Yahoo software. When you want to develop your Yahoo software, right, you cannot write the complete code for your Yahoo and then start testing and all. In Agile, it is not possible. In Agile, as I said, we will always work with the application by dividing that application into smaller iterations. So usually what will happen is, first, right, now what I will do is, I will divide this project into different iterations. That means, what do you mean by iterations? Now here this is my Yahoo, right? Just try to understand that this is my Yahoo. When you're developing your Yahoo application, what we will do is, we will divide this application based on different modules. This is my login module. That is nothing but my first iteration. So what I will promise my client is, see, I will give the login module in the first iteration. This is the promise. And then in the iteration 2, I will be giving the compose mail module. Okay, like this is my second iteration. Now in the third iteration, I will say that I can provide you search mail. So I will say that search functionality I will provide in the third iteration. This is the first step. Now you can ask me, what is this phase and all. Now what I will do, first I will take this login, and then what I will do is, I will start implementing my login. When I start implementing my login, I cannot complete in a single phase. First what I will do, I will be developing my login. I will be developing my login. And then I will give this login to the testers, and testers will test that, and then they will provide some whatever that defects, and then what we will do is we will fix the defects. Everything is done. Now what I will do is I will show this login to the client. What client will do? Client will go through that login, and if he need any changes, or if you want to do some changes, or if you want to add some more functionalities, then what he will do is, based on the input, based on the feedback provided by your client, what we will do is we will develop that login page with the updated requirements. That is called your phase 2. Again, what we will do is we will complete this all the requirements, and we will show to the customer. Now what your client will do? Okay, client will say that yes, looks right, I need a few more changes. Let's go with the few more changes. Otherwise, if he is good, then I'm done with the first iteration. Then what I will do? I will go to the second iteration, and the flow continues. This is called your iterative development in your agile process. Please let me know if you are clear with this process. This is what exactly we will do in the real time. Okay, this is what exactly we will do in the real time. Fine. So like now, say same story will be again same. Now what I will do, yeah, no problem. Now right, we will take the second iteration. That's fine, Satish. Now I'm done with this login. We are done, like we are done with this login, and then client is happy with that. Now we will go to the second iteration. In this second iteration, what we will do is, what is our requirement here? Compose mail. Take the compose mail, and then in the first phase, write the code for your compose mail and give it to the testers, and testers will test that application, and if any issues are there, they will raise the defects, and the developer will fix the defects. We are done with the first phase 1, and then we will give the demo. We will give the demo of compose mail to the client. I will give the demo. I will give the demo for my compose mail. Now when the demo seen by your client, what he will do is, he may be having some requirements in his mind. He will say that I want few more requirements to be added in this compose mail. I want to add few more requirements here, or I want to delete some existing requirements because this is unnecessary, or he wanted to modify few requirements.
I have a question.
Yes.
Yeah, I have a question. Like if in iteration 2, iteration 1 and iteration 2 are related, for example.
Correct.
Now, if we have any error in iteration 2, so it's also affects the iteration 1, like.
Yes, that is called, finally what will happen is that we will get a feature completed build. You will get the final build. See here, right, what we are doing is we are doing that iteration 1, iteration 2 and iteration 3. Once we are done with all iterations, then we will get a final build, and then on that final build we will do one round of regression testing. Then if everything goes good, then we will show to the client and go to the production. That is the process. Clear?
Okay.
Right. So this is how exactly we will work in the real time. Now what we will do is, right, we will take this Yahoo and then show to the customer, but customer said that he is actually right. See, what will happen is when you are giving the requirements, maybe you will not have the exact picture in your mind, but when I show the application, then you will get lot of changes. You will get lot of modifications to your application, because when you are presenting visually, then people will get more number of questions. So as a client, I also get more number of questions. What I will do is, I will give my what do you call this suggestions here. Then based on your suggestions, what developers will do is they will include that suggestions, modifications, or they will add that few more requirements, and then again they will show that demo to the customer, and if customer good, then we will go to third iteration and so on. And once we are done with all the iterations and everything is good and everything is accepted, then what developer will do is, developer will give a final build which is having all the features. Then as a tester, we will do a one round of regression testing, and if we are good with that, let's go to the production. This is the model, how exactly we will use in the real time.
So this means if the clients are okay with phase 1, we can directly go to iteration.
Yeah, that's the advantage. That's the beauty of your agile model actually, right? See, if you go to that waterfall model, everything is strict. If you want to go to testing, I want to complete the development. Otherwise, I cannot go to testing and all. But here, it's like flexible. You can do the changes whatever you want. So once I'm done with the login page, and in the first phase itself, developer is happy. I mean, client is happy with that. So I'm okay. Then let's close this first iteration. Just go to the second iteration. Start with that. Okay. No, this is phases, right? So okay. So right, you are talking about that, Satish, right? You are saying that phase 1 and phase 2, right? If you don't want these names, right, you can use that sprint 1, sprint 2 and all. Just right, it's a naming, right? So right, you need to understand the process and how exactly it will work. But in the real time, right, probably right, people will use the different names. I'm using the phase 1. So if you go to the organizations, people will say that sprint 1, sprint 2, like this. Just a naming convention. Yes, someone is asking some question.
Yeah. Could you please use the same example for the V model too, the Yahoo
Yeah.
example?
Yeah, V model, right? This, I mean, right, in V model, you will not get that, what do you call, exact example. Okay, let me try with that. Because V model is like your waterfall model only. Let me try. Okay. So here, right, say for example, if you want to develop your Yahoo application, so what you will do is first you will get all your Yahoo requirements from the client. So first what I need to do is I need to get all my Yahoo requirements from my client. Get all the requirements from your Yahoo client. Once you get all the Yahoo requirements, what we will do here, your tech lead or your development lead will involve here. They will be preparing some high level design documents, which is nothing but, when you say that high level design documents, it is nothing but like flow diagrams, database designs, architectural diagrams, everything will be prepared here. That means, right, what do you mean by that flow diagrams? Let me show you that. Now right, what I will do is I will be preparing the flow diagrams for each requirement. So here I am not writing any code. Remember, I am not writing any code. Just I'm designing my requirements with the flow diagrams. Let me show you what do you mean by flow diagrams. See here, what I will do is now, right, in this Yahoo, right, we have like 3 functionalities: login, compose mail, and your search mail. So here what I will do is I will be creating some flow diagrams. What do you mean by flow diagrams? Now this is my, now say for example, this is my login. So what I will do is I will be preparing this flow diagram so that my team can develop the application based on the flow diagrams. So this is my login. So okay, enter username and password, enter username and password. Okay, enter username and password. So just I'm creating like simple flow diagram so that, right, developers can start developing their application based on these flow diagrams. Okay, click on sign in button. Okay, fine. Okay, now okay, so I entered username and password. If user is valid, so I will be creating just a flow diagram so that your developers will be writing the code based on these flow diagrams. If user is valid, if user is valid, home page display, home page display. Okay, no means if user is not valid, if user is not valid, if user is not valid. So this kind of flow diagrams they will create as a tech lead, as a senior developer, right? As a senior developer, what I will do is I will be creating this flow diagram. So based on this flow diagrams, my developers will start writing the code. Error message display, error message display. Clear? Now what I will do is write like this. So like this. So what I will do here is like right here, I will be preparing my flow diagrams as part of my high level design. Now based on these flow diagrams, based on these requirements, what these people will do, what developers will do is, developers, here these two, right, what they will do is, developers start writing the code. Start writing the code. See, start writing the code. Start writing the code based on what? Based on what? Based on these requirements, based on these flow diagrams or your architecture diagrams, they will be start writing the code. And here your code is ready. Your code is ready. Now what we will do is we will start validating. We will start validating. What is validating? Once the code is ready, once the code is ready, once the application is ready, the first testing, the initial testing, the first testing, the initial testing done by the developer, that is called your unit testing. Unit testing is nothing but testing the smallest individual unit is called unit testing. Here you will do just a high level testing. You will not do any detailed testing. Just you will do the high level testing, and if it's good, you will release that application to the testing team. Now,
So
yeah.
can I ask one question?
Yes.
So you for a model, you told me first they're going to start with login.
Right.
So here saying just like that they are doing everything in that coding. They are doing coding only for the login, or
no, everything. See, that is the drawback of your V model and your waterfall model. Here, everything. I will complete my entire application here. I will complete
so
my.
they will do it for login, compose,
Yes,
search,
yes.
all together.
Yes,
They do.
Correct.
Oh, okay, that's
That
the
is
confusion.
yeah, that's the drawback of your like waterfall model and V model. That's why people are going with your other.
Okay, I have another question. So in the unit test model, unit is actually a small portion, isn't it? So integration is one, we can integrate one model with other models. So here we are saying we can we have all together, that means login, search, and everything. Then how what they will integrate here unit with a
Yeah, that's right. So here, right, what they will do, right, if you guys are using your incremental model, that kind of situation, what will happen is integration testing done by the testers. But here, if they are giving this entire code, if the developers is giving the entire code, so integration testing will be done by the developers. If you remember, I told you integration testing will be done by the testers or developers. Sometimes testers can do, sometimes developers can do. Developers will do this integration testing whenever they are giving the complete build to the testing team. Sometimes, right, they are unable to give the complete test and complete build. What they will do is they will say that I completed only one module, please test it. This kind of situation, they cannot do any integration testing. Okay. So, so here what we will do is unit testing. This is not our job. And integration testing will be done by sometimes your developers, sometimes your testers. And here what I will do is like once they are giving this complete build, as a tester, still you have to make sure that your entire data is flowing between the modules correctly or not. That is your job. And then like it will come to your system testing. Here you will be having like so many testing types, regression testing, retesting, so many are there, browser compatibility testing, n number of testing types. You will do your n number of testing types to make sure that your entire system is working correctly. And finally, your UAT. This UAT will be done by your client to make sure that all the requirements are implemented as expected. If everything good, let's move to the production. This is all about your V model and your asset. So same story here also, whatever I showed, like here it's a short-term planning. Here a team should be given more importance, and then here what will happen is here right we will be giving the importance to the software. Working software is important for me. Documentation I don't care. I don't care like what is the documentation under. That means what do you mean by that, right? Documentation means like if you're not writing the detailed test case also, I'm good. If my end of the day, right, after your testing, if my software is working correctly, I'm good. I don't mind like what kind of test cases you use, what kind of documentation you use. I will never bother. And here like most of the times you will be having the constant communication, regular communication with all the team members. All the team members. Okay. Yeah.
What does this mean by documentation here?
Documentation can be anything. Everywhere you will be having your documentation, right? Like if you talk about that development, right? Development team is having their documentation, like what kind of technology they are using, like what to develop each and every component, what method they are using. They will be having a lot of documentation. I don't mind on that documentation. If end of the day with your code, if my application is working fine, I'm good. Similarly, when it comes to the testing team, like you have a lot of documentation, test plan, test cases, so many things are there. So when you're writing your test cases, like if you're not writing even like detailed test cases, but end of the day you have done testing on your application, and if your application is working as expected, I don't mind what kind of test cases you have written. I don't care also, because my software is working fine. That is important for me. Okay, clear? So this is your model. So end of the day, like you can use one of the model, you can use your waterfall and agile. Okay, these two models only. Remember, remaining models like V model and all not required. But waterfall and agile, these are the common models we will use in the organization. Okay, any doubt? Please let me know. So, okay. Okay, fine, clear, fine. Fine, let's come back to testing again. Like let's come back to our testing. Like till now, right, we talked about like different models. Let's come back to our testing. The first thing is, here I wanted to understand like testing principles. What is your testing principles, right? Testing principles. These are all your testing principles, right? The first testing principle is testing shows presence of your defects. What is it? Yeah, testing shows presence of your defects. That means, right, here what will happen is, right, when you are testing your application, you may be having like a lot of defects. So what you can do is, whatever the test cases you have, take each and every test case and go to that each and every requirement, test all the requirements and make sure that your application is not having any defects. Again, 100% defect free application is not possible. At least you have to make sure that 98% or 99% defect free application. That is important. 100% no one will expect, but 98 and 99% everyone will expect. So you have to make sure that like each and every requirement is properly tested and there is no like defects available in your application. That is one of the principles. Okay, fine. Exhaustive testing is impossible. That's true. See, when you're testing your application, testing with each and every condition, it's impossible, right? When you say that, like, let me give you one example here. Exhaustive testing is very difficult here. Now, say for example, I will say that username will, or else, right, I'll say like this. Phone number allows like 10 digits. When you say that 10 digits, how many combinations you will get? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So many combinations you will get. Like you will get like n number of combinations. And it is not possible to test with each and every permutations and combination. Each and every combination. It is not at all possible. So what we will do is, instead of testing with each and every condition, we will be testing the application based on the priority and based on the risk. That means, like in my application, what is the most important functionality? So first go to that most important functionality and make sure that that most important functionality is working fine and it is not having any defect. Then go to the next one like this. So if you are going like this, so end of the day what will happen is you will be having a product which is having good quality, because it is not possible to test with each and everything. See, I'm a tester, and to test that application with each and every possible condition, it's impossible. That's why what you have to do is you have to test your application based on the priority and risk. And then early testing, right? When you say that early testing, always, it is good to have your testing as early as possible, right? Don't wait till the last moment. If you're getting that application, and then try to find all the defects, try to do all your testing in the first build itself. So because, right, if you're finding your defects in your early testing, then what will happen is it is easy to fix. It is easy to fix for the developers, and also you can save a lot of time in the future builds and your future releases. Right? Always try to do your testing as early as possible. This third point is very, very important. And also, if you go to the interviews, also people will ask, can you tell me like when exactly you will start your testing? Then the answer will be as early as possible. That means if you give today, start testing the application today itself. That means you have to test your application as early as possible. And then, right, defect clustering. So here, right, one more good principle here is like defect clustering. Okay, 1 second, please. One second. One second, please. Yeah, sorry guys. Yeah, sorry. So, right, you have to make sure that you are doing your testing as early as possible. That is one point. And one more point is defect clustering, right? Defect clustering is nothing but here, right? When you are testing any application, the application can be anything, the application can be X, Y, Z, any application, right? Any application, what will happen is, most of the times you will be finding the issues in one of the module. Like even though you are having like different modules, but most of the times you will find your defects in few modules. You will not find your issues in all the modules. Okay, so here what will happen is you will not find the issues in all the modules. You will be finding the issues like one or two modules. It is like that defect clustering is like 80-20 model. That means you will be finding like defects in one of the module is 80%, and if you go to that another module, like you may be finding only 20%. It should be like 80-20%. So whenever, right, if you are working with any application, like you may be getting like more defects with one of the module. So what you can do is you can focus more testing with that particular module. And you can also ask me like how I will know that which module will get more number of effects. Usually what I will do is when I'm doing my testing, like it's based on the functionalities, based on the criticality of your functionalities, you will focus your testing. And then I will focus my testing with more complex areas. So probably right, you will be finding more number of defects. And then right, one more principle is pesticide paradox. That means right, this means like right, you have to always make sure that you have updated your test cases regularly. Meaning right, say if you are having like so many releases, when you're having so many releases and you will be having the test cases from release 1 and the same test cases you are executing with your applications down the line after 3 or 4 releases, your test cases every time it will pass, it will never fail. So what you have to do is you have to always revise your test cases. You have to always revise your test cases, and then if there is any updates are required, make sure that you update it accordingly. That is your job. You have to update your test cases based on your requirement, based on the releases. Every release you have to revise your test cases based on your requirement. You can change your you can update your test cases accordingly and test the application. Then only you will be getting more number of defects, and end of the day you will be getting your quality product. Okay. And the next one is testing is context dependent. That means right, usually what will happen is testing means when you say that testing, this testing what will happen is it is context dependent. That means what kind of application you are testing, that is important, right? So whether you are testing web application, whether you are testing your healthcare application, so what kind of application you are testing, based on that only you will proceed with your testing activities. Because if you are testing your healthcare application, it is very important because it's life, right? Healthcare application means right, you have to be very careful. It's life, right? If you're testing your healthcare devices, if you're testing with your healthcare applications, if something goes wrong, it's huge. I mean, you cannot get that back under, because it's healthcare. So there, right, healthcare application is very critical. So you have to be very careful when you're testing your application. But when you're testing your web application means what I will do, I will focus more on my payment part, because payment is the main concept, I mean what you call main requirement for the web application. So what I will do, I will focus on payment. That's why I said that testing is context dependent. So what kind of application you are testing, right? What kind of application you are testing, and then based on your application, what you can do is you can proceed with your testing activities. Proceed with your activities. Okay. And the final principle is nothing but absence of your errors. So what we will do is right, what you have to do is as a tester, you have to make sure that each and every is find out with your test cases. Again, right, as I said, 100% is not at all possible. That's absolutely, I mean, that everyone will agree that statement. 100% quality product is not possible, that everyone will agree. But at least we need to make sure that our product is having 98 and 90% defect free. That is our job. At least we have to do that. Okay, just remember these testing principles in your mind, and then we will proceed with your software testing life cycle. No one will ask you like, can you tell me like what is your principles and all. No one will ask. Just remember these principles, right, so that it will help you while testing your application. Okay, fine then. So we will go with this till what point we discuss. Okay, testing methodologies and all, right. I will talk in the next session what is testing methodologies, testing levels. I will talk about it in the next session. Okay, fine. Yeah.